The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Hey, what up YouTube fam, it's Dupree aka Darth Hater here with some fresh brand new Star Wars news for you. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and also don't forget to check out my last video because it greatly helps out the channel. So let's get into it. So this is my breakdown for The Acolyte episode 1 and episode 2. And if you did watch this 2-episode premiere, heavy spoilers ahead. So we start with the opening crawl that establishes the period and larger context of the story. The Acolyte forgoes the continuous scroll format of the Skywalker saga crawls, instead having a couple contextual paragraphs fixed into a blue-colored font. The crawl reads, 100 years before the rise of the Empire, it's a time of peace. The Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic have prospered for centuries without war. But in the dark corners of the galaxy, a powerful few learn to use the Force in secret. One of them, a long assassin, risks discovery to seek revenge. On the planet Ueda, a mysterious warrior, May, tracks a Jedi Master Indara to a cantina in a rundown and remote village. After paying a snitch for Indara's location, May enters the cantina and confronts the Jedi Master directly. May is a very dramatic, striking fighting pose and challenging Indara to attack her. The table of drinkers and onlookers that Indara is with all bust out laughing. Indara tries to de-escalate the situation by claiming the Jedi aren't aggressors in fights, a comment May disagrees with as she starts to attack. Indara's bar buddies get thrashed, but the Jedi Master is not easily beaten. After being bested in the first round of fisticuffs, May tries to take a cantina patron hostage and uses her to distract Indara. When Indara subdues May on the balcony of the cantina, she spots a circular mark on the young girl's forehead, recognizing it and May as someone from her past. May breaks free and the battle continues down to the blades. May uses a set of throwing knives while Indara pulls her lightsaber. Indara tries to talk May from the dark path she's embarking on and lowers her saber in a show of peace. Instead, May sets a deadly trap, force pushing a knife directly at the bartender. Indara has to redirect her force power to grab the knife before the bartender is killed, leaving just enough of an opening for May to force push a second knife into her heart. Indara dies on the floor of the cantina. May goes to finish off the bartender, which is the only witness, but she sees his young child is clinging to him in terror. She has a slight moment of emotion, walking away and letting them live. Then we cut to the Acolyte logo. Her blue-collar twin, a girl who looks just like May, named Osha, wakes up from a nightmare in her bed aboard a Trade Federation freight ship. Osha gets herself calmed and centered again before she's by her mini droid unit, Pip. Pip is a little excited. A flashing red light beacon in Osha quarter signals that she has a job to report to. In the halls of her ship, she runs into her co-worker, Philip, playfully chastises her about not joining the repair crew on a drinking outing. Osha boasts of privacy, and the two co-workers get to work walking on the hull of a ship to fix the shields. The Trade Federation delegates complain about employing organic repair crew mechanics instead of droids, discrimination that Osha has clearly heard before. Based on her comebacks, the point is slightly made. However, with a pressure valve blows, a sight of the fire that causes triggers May, and we hear some horrific screams echoing across her memory. Philip gets Osha's mind back on track, and she puts out the flames just in time to see a Jedi Star Cruiser docking. Jedi Knight Yord Fandar arrives with his Padawan to question Osha. The Trade Federation delegate who meets him then tries to lie that they would not be using droid laborers as a repair crew. Yord starts to get the truth with the Jedi mind trick, and the female delegate reveals where Osha is. Yord Fandar's Padawan is a Zygarian, a species first introduced in books in the late 80s and brought to screen finally in the animated Clone Wars series. Osha finds Yord waiting in her quarters and is happy to see him, clearly indicating that there were once Padawans together studying at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. That Osha left the order while Yord graduated to Jedi Knight 2 years ago. Things get awkward and Osha requests to know what's going on. Yord has his Padawan interrogate her about what she's been doing since leaving the Jedi Order 6 years prior. Osha states that being an almost Jedi paid no bills, so she's been a mechanic ever since. Yord tries to apply logic to her case, locking into the idea that Osha is the killer. Osha, meanwhile, seems to have no idea what they're talking about. The scene offers a lot of explanation on Osha's time training as a Jedi, The troubles that made her leave, the death of her entire tribe and sister, and now leaving was her choice. None of the debate matters when Yord brings a cantina owner from Ueda who points out Osha as a killer. Yord arrests her and escorts her to a prison transport ship that will deliver her to the Jedi Council on Coruscant. From there, we cut to Coruscant in the Jedi Temple. We meet Jedi Master Sol and his Padawan Jeki Lon. Sol is teaching a class of younglings how to meditate and achieve clairvoyance by reaching out through the Force. Sol is approached by Jedi Master Venestra Rao. Rao informs Sol that his friend Indara is dead and that Osha is in custody for a murder. Although stoic, Sol has conflicted feelings about his history with Osha and May and the tragic events between them. He doubts that Osha would murder Indara, but Rao can't see any other logical suspect than a Jedi in training who defected. Sol references Indara's bond with Osha over the tragic fire on her planet and the Jedi saving her, raising his doubts about Osha's guilt. Rao outright asks if Sol will support her and a Jedi and track down Osha, to which Sol difficultly agrees. We cut back to the Republic prison transport ship. Osha finds herself an unwitting accomplice to a prison break. One goon she's locked up with a cyborg hijacks the droid's pilot, while an alien with long tendril on his head grabs the droid jailer and uses its hand to open the cell. The goons free everyone but Osha and another poor convict who's been fed on by a parasite, and get away in escape pods. As the ship starts to come apart in hyperspace, Pip falls out of the cargo hold just out of reach of Osha. She tries to focus and use the Force to grab and retrieve Pip, only to fail miserably. Instead, fate intervenes. Another bump of turbulence put Pip into Osha's reach. She wakes the droid up and has him short out the cell doors as Osha heads to the last escape pod. She's compelled to help the last convict laid out with a parasite on his face. Pip zaps the parasite, which scurries into a ventilation system. However, when the man wakes up, he flees in hysteria, taking the last escape pod for himself. Stranded, Osha straps herself into the cockpit's passenger seat and braces for impact. The ship crash lands on the snowy terrain on the nearest planet, Karlak, and skids halt on the ice intact. Karlak first appeared in the Clone Wars, inhabited by members of the Ming Po culture, and their village was burned to the ground by the Death Watch, a radical Mandalorian terrorist group from the Clone Wars, if you guys remember. Back on Coruscant, Sol is looking to a hollow image of Osha, which Jeki objects to, as it seems like sentiment and the Jedi are supposed to let go of. Sol counters that memories of the past keep one from repeating its mistakes. Master and Padawan are summoned by Rao, where all except convicts from Osha's ship have been recaptured. Sol uses the Jedi mind abilities to read the prisoners and interview the one that Osha saved from the parasite. At first, the convict lies, screaming that Osha is the evil Jedi killer that they're searching for, and then after Sol uses a Jedi mind trick on him, the convict admits to Osha saving him and then him betraying her. Rao thinks Osha must be dead, but Sol senses she's alive. Sol wants to take accountability for his former student, and Rao reluctantly says yes, dispatching Sol with a small team to retrieve Osha from Karlak. On the way out, we also see another small Easter egg from Knights of the Old Republic. Alien right here in the corner is called a Cellcath. It's always nice to see when they reach into the bag and bring out a very niche alien. Back in Karlak, Osha awakes in a snowy covered cockpit of the crashed ship, only to find a hooded figure there with her. Meanwhile, Sol and Jeki are recruiting Yord for the mission, even though he's half naked in the middle of ironing his robes. Back on Karlak, Osha catches up with a small hooded figure leading her around and discovers it's a child version of May. May's avatar changes the scene from Karlak to her planet on Brendok, where the forest begins burning. Child May runs away, with Osha chasing, reciting some nursery rhyme they shared about two people being one. At the end, Osha finds she is able to converse with May, who confirms she's still alive and that she killed Master Indara. Child May's eyes turn black as she claims she will kill all the Jedi. Osha actually awakens to find she's still in the cockpit of the ship and never left. She tells Pip with some level of disbelief. On the Jedi starship, Sol, Yord, and Jeki are en route to Karlak, and Sol takes the time to fill them in on a key history, how Osha was a twin and how her twin sister burned down their home in Brendok, killing their people. Sol claims he saw May die, making her seemingly return even more of a mystery. The ship reaches Karlak, and the three Jedi take a dropship to the surface. Osha sees them coming and goes into hiding. Yord thinks Osha's dead, but Jackie notices the details of her survival. Soul senses her presence and they give pursuit. They chase until Osha nearly falls from a cliff. Soul saves her by grabbing her with the force, pulling her back on, and convinces Osha to come with them. Without the handcuffs, Yord and Jackie want to slap on her. Later on, May is seen arriving on a new planet, ready to kill her next target. She meets with her master, who is standing on the ocean cliffside in a black helmet and cape. The master recites a sermon about how Jedi's time and power, peace, it was a dream, and an acolyte kills the dream. The master ignites a red lightsaber as he stands there on the cliff, and then this episode ends. Pretty interesting start to this series, I'd say. But on to episode 2, it starts off with May infiltrating a Jedi outpost on the planet Olega by using a street kid as a distraction for the door droid, who May scrambles with a device. Inside the outpost, she confronts Jedi Master Torben during her attack me pose. However, Torben's eyes are closed, one side of his face is horribly scarred, and he's floating cross-legged in meditation, seemingly for the last 10 years, we later learn. And nothing May do can disturb the invisible barrier of the Force around him. After failing in her attacks, May flees before other Jedi come in the room. Torben never loses his concentration, falls, or even opens his eyes. Meanwhile, Osha awakens on Master Soul's ship to find his Padawan Jackie Lon having technical troubles. Osha advises on how to fix the issue, and the two have an awkward conversation about her qualifications as a mechanic. Master Soul walks by, ending the conversation. Soul is approached by Jedi Knight Yord Fandar, who disagrees with Osha being treated as a companion rather than a suspect. Soul questions why Yord is so intent on suspecting Osha, and Yord counters that only Osha's Jedi training, not the seemingly untrained May, would be enough to take out Master Indara. Soul advises Yord not to let fear cloud his judgment and moves on. In the ship's cockpit, Soul calls Jedi Master Vanestra Rao, who finally agrees that Osha cannot be a suspect since she was with Soul when Master Torben was attacked. Soul asks Vanestra for her advisement. He gets his wish for Osha to be left in his care as he goes to Olega to investigate the attack on Torben. Yord once again protests having Osha in their company, but Soul quickly lets him know he's been overruled by the Jedi Order. Back on Olega, May travels to a shop in the village where she finds her contact, ex-smuggler Kamiri, who's sleeping one off. May rudely awakens Kamiri and chastises his drinking, but he counters that he was waiting for her. Kamiri claims to have taken the shop and his clothes from the person who owned them, implying that he killed them, and he's revealed to be tracking May's progress along her kill list on behalf of their mysterious Dark Master. May has Kamiri prepare a poison called Bunta as the two debate strategies on how to kill Master Torben. Kamiri suggests that the Jedi's peace and serenity is a lie, and what Torben wants is the peace of absolution. May warns Kamiri not to mention the poison to her master. Back on the Jedi starship, Soul brings Osha some milk and starts a dad-like conversation about her mechanic crew tattoo. They move on to a serious subject of May's apparent death years before. Soul was able to navigate his way through the guilt Osha could not, implying it had to do with her leaving the Jedi Order. The ship arrives at Olega, and Soul, Yord, and Jackie all head for the Jedi outpost. They arrive just as May is sneaking in again and discern the street kid is May's distraction. As the Jedi is searching the base, May gives a speech to Torben about how he can find forgiveness by taking the poison she places in front of him. Torben finally opens his eyes and lowers to the ground. The Jedi Master claims that he's been waiting for May. He takes the poison, apologizing to May for the mysterious transgression at the center of the story. Out in the hallways, Soul feels his friend about to die and goes running. Osha finds Torben first and examines the scene, recognizing the scent of Bunta poison. The Jedi bursts in thinking Osha is the culprit, but she gets an unexpected ally in Yord, who had been following her every move secretly and knows she didn't kill Torben. Osha recognizes Bunta as the poison used, leading the Jedi to discern that Torben willingly killed himself. Soul and his team head with Osha into the village based on the theory that Bunta has a short shelf life and must be used soon after being made. They work with Jedi Padawans to identify the local apothecary, but they quickly identify that Kamiri is not the usual shopkeeper working there. The group sends in Osha posing as May, who initially fools Kamiri into confessing his involvement with the poison. By the time he discovers that it's Osha, the Jedi rush in. Kamir almost immediately cooperates, selling out May, setting her up for an ambush. But he also plays dumb about whether or not May has a master. Sol and company get set for May's return to the shop, where they plan to trap her. Sol and Osha have major disagreements about how to confront May. Osha is angry at her sister for ruining of her family. Sol tries to be the teacher and steer her the path of vengeance. Osha finally agrees to let Sol duel May alone. When night falls, May approaches the shop and is stopped by Sol, who is in slight belief that it's truly her. The two of them start to duel while Sol questions why May is choosing to fight without proper weaponry and who trained her. Sol eventually gets the better of May, suspending her movement with a force hold, reading her mind. Sol reads into her that she doesn't know who her master truly is. When Sol reveals that Osha is still alive, May loses it and lashes out. Yor restrains her with his force hold, and Jeki flies in on the ship in a spotlight to block her escape route. May uses the force to stir up a big dust cloud and then vanishes. Osha comes out of the Jedi outpost and spots May hijacking a speeder from a local civilian. The two sisters have a profound moment seeing each other again. Osha finally recovers her nerve and tries to stun blast her sister but misses. May escapes in the speeder. Sol then checks in with Vanestra, who commands him to wait for the Jedi Council to discuss the development of confirming May is alive and a trained force user. Meanwhile, May sneaks back into the apothecary and confronts Kamir and about his betrayal. Kamir redeems himself by revealing that he located the next target, Wookiee Jedi Klanaka. The two sneak off with Lego to face him. Then we cut to the planet Kofar and we find two scavengers in the thick woods stumbling upon the home of Klanaka. The Wookiee quickly scares them away when he comes up from behind. With the intruders gone, Klanaka heads into his hut. And then that's the end of episode 2. So what do we think about these two episodes? Honestly, I like the writing in the show and the vibe. It feels very grounded in the prequel era. Even though this is 100 years before the Phantom Menace, this still feels very Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. And it's very interesting to see how the Jedi operate in a story solely focused on them. The highs of the show, I love how to see the Jedi Order operates without any kind of great threat out there. They really did get the vibe right. I think we all wanted to see kind of like a murder mystery with Jedi. So far, my favorite characters has to be Yord and Master Sol. Sol reminds me so much of Qui-Gon Jinn, especially with the sense that he has a failed Padawan. It kind of reminds me of Qui-Gon's failed Padawan from the books, Xanatos, if you guys remember. But so far, I would give both these episodes a good 7, maybe even 8 out of 10. Great series so far, and I can't wait to see what we get later on. And I can't wait to see what we get later on in the rest of the season. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this breakdown and my thoughts about the series. Did you like the episode so far? What do you think the highs and the lows so far have been? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you guys like this video, please hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications for all my latest videos. That'd be great. Anyway, guys, take care. See you in the next one. May the force be with you. Bye.